male-dominated Catholic countries, this worship of the Virgin Mary is a subtle form of religious rebellion that the priesthood finds hard to oppose. According to church doctrine, only Jesus is to be worshipped. Mary is merely to be respected. An early Christian father made the position very clear, saying, "Let Mary be honoured, but let the Son be adored." But here at least, whatever the male priests may think about it, this rule has little hope of being observed. Outside this Spanish church, a precious statue of the Virgin is ceremonially carried aloft and shown to the emotional crowd. The devout worshippers try to pass articles of their clothing or even their young children up to the priests to be touched onto the statue and given the Virgin's blessing. Similar scenes to this were no doubt witnessed on the sacred days of the early mother goddesses, such as Diana of Ephesus, but those have long since been forgotten. The Virgin Mary has successfully overshadowed all her predecessors. This adoration of the Virgin Mary was frowned upon by some religious authorities. They correctly saw it as a perpetuation of the worship of the ancient mother goddess figure. What they wanted in increasingly male-dominated religions was a shift to a central male figure. The official ruling was that Mary was to play only a supporting role to her son Jesus. In this, the religious leaders were largely successful. The early female deity had commanded great reverence because reproduction was revered. In those far-off days, it was vitally important for the domestic animals, the crops, and the human beings themselves to breed as freely and successfully as possible. Their survival depended upon it. But so successful was she that she brought about her own downfall. As villages grew into towns and towns into ancient cities, two things happened. One was that people started to become crowded together, so producing children became less of a burning need. And at the same time, the male role in organizing these new cities became more important. The old male hunting groups became converted into new male ruling groups. They focused on a new kind of hunting now, the ritual hunting we usually refer to as war. In some countries, men go shopping for guns at the local gun market, rather as women go shopping for vegetables. Guns have had an abiding fascination for men ever since they were invented 600 years ago. The Freudian interpretation of the gun as a metal phallus that ejaculates bullets has become something of a joke, And yet the glee with which men play with their guns and the excitement generated when they fire them off does seem to go beyond the merely military. Are these men really thinking of the damage to human flesh that these weapons can cause as they lovingly inspect them and fondle them? Or are they acting out some deeper, more carnal masculine fantasies? Although it's true that women have been known to engage in gunplay from time to time, the world of firearms has always been a predominantly male pursuit and has gradually become a standard expression of masculine power and the enforcement of male domination. Any attempt to take guns away from men who are used to carrying them produces a passionate reaction so intense that it's almost as if they're being threatened with castration. And it's undeniable that the development of male weapons from muskets to rockets has paralleled the rise of masculine domination in human society. As males rose to positions of power in the spreading civilizations, the ultimate shift had to occur. Even God had to change sex. The great mother goddess had to become God the Father, an all-powerful masculine figure more suited to the harsh new world of weapons, dungeons, tortures, battlefields, and other such manly inventions. After God had had the operation, a great deal was lost. Technology advanced, but at a huge price. The new, sterner, belligerent God figures brought with them a new relationship between the sexes. Women lost their high status. For 1,000,000 tribal years, they'd been the equal of males. Different, but equal. But now they were relegated to a subordinate role. The gender wars had begun. In some cultures, even today, women are still treated as possessions of their husbands and must hide their faces from all other men. It's always been assumed that the wearing of the veil is Muslim in origin, but this isn't the case. It was originally introduced by the ancient Assyrians as a way of labelling high-status females. The custom was later taken over by male-dominated Muslim countries, despite the fact that in the Quran it states, and I quote, "Women shall with justice have rights similar to those exercised against them," unquote. At a social level, somewhere along the line, those rights seem to have been lost. It's only in the privacy of their own homes that these women are allowed to remove their veils. And even here, they must quickly put them on again if male visitors arrive. Arab countries vary in the degree to which they closet their women, and there are many different ways in which wives subordinate themselves to their husbands. For these adult females, life holds little in the way of adventure or creativity. Forbidden to show their faces in public, they must live out their existence in a social cocoon. This is a male world where, however one looks at it, it's clear that women have lost their social equality, even though they're still expected to give birth to and rear the next male-dominated generation.